All right. I made a video previously saying I don't believe in the devil. What that means is my own flaws and failings are mine, and God is perfect and good. I am limited, and God is infinite. Um, I don't need to scapegoat another entity for my own bad behavior. Basically, is what it comes down to. And the Christian texts say there is nothing that gets in between you and God. Nothing can get in between you. So I thought I would explain two different situations or concepts, and so on. So if you have like a metal pole in the ground, and you have, let's say it's like a kilometer high, and then you have like 100 meters, which is 1/10 of a kilometer, kilo meaning thousand, of water. And horizontally, life can emerge as we know it. And it can be a little bit higher or a little bit lower and so on, but we generally call that horizontal relations. And you can kind of compare yourself to other people and so on. Maybe you're a little better in one way or one at one time, and you're a little lower on another time or something like that, situationally. But height is where holiness is. And maybe sometimes one of the water life forms jumps out of the water and sees the top of the pole, and that might be what a prophet is, basically. Maybe someone climbs the pole, and that's a prophet as well, or something, or a patriarch, as the Old Testament would put them. You know, but you can be horizontally righteous or higher while being completely beneath the extent of the pole. You never get to the top of the pole. God's just sitting there casting lightning bolts, smiting random people, and resurrecting the dead, and telling life forms, look out, there's something out to get you, or go there for the resources you want, like food or something like that. He's doing his thing. And you can compare yourself to other people horizontally. And you can say you're a little bit higher or lower in some fashion, or more righteous or less righteous, or smarter or dumber, or stronger or weaker, or bigger or smaller. But you will never see God if you only look horizontally or within the water. You have to look outside the water to see God. Now, granted, infinity is a lot higher than a kilometer, but you know what I mean in this case. It's a bit of a simple metaphor. Now, the second concept is our relation between God and mankind. When I am straining to look at God, there is nothing in between us. There is just me and God. When I'm looking to my fellow man, there's me and the rest of life as we know it. But there's 4 categories of relations with God when you're trying to do something. The highest may be God you doing things through you. Then there's sort of 2 different positions of I was just twiddling my thumbs and God like dropped a girlfriend in my lap. And then there's also like I think that's like the 3rd position or something. Yeah. Or like the 4th. It's tied for 3rd position or 4th position. You know what I mean? The second highest position, other than God working through you to do things, is God meets you halfway. And what that means is you can do things yourself, but God is the one that organizes everything in total to get you to succeed when you're trying to succeed. So he can make it so you're a complete failure no matter how conventionally gifted you are. You know, the question of can God make a rock so big he can't carry it is a little ridiculous because he can't do non-existent things or nonsense. But God can definitely make a rock so big you can't carry it. Thank God God made small rocks. So the 3rd position, tied for 3rd and 4th basically, is the twiddle thumbs drop and God drops a girlfriend in your lap, and the I chased after God and found him. Now the real trick is understanding which level is valid mostly in your situation. But each of these 4 different concepts has validity on some level at least. Like, I think all of them have validity in all levels, basically. And one can get carried away in developing one of these 4 as the primary method by which God operates with us in relation to us, or how we relate, or how we operate in relation to God. And some of these might be better than others in most situations. But at the end of the day, these 4 relationship categories with God will determine how we approach the divine. And the divine can approach us with reinforcing our reliance on one or more of these modes of existence. And that's a bit of a twiddle thumbs and God drops a girlfriend in your lap or something like that kind of attitude in a way. But there's some sort of relationship where we do things but God does things, and God does everything and we do everything. Like, even when we chase God and find him, he lets us do it. When God picks you, he works through you. And then the other operation is you and God do something. You could do something that is completely irrelevant normally for doing that thing successfully. Something that just wouldn't work ever, normally. And God makes you win at it anyways. or you can do something that is pretty smart and kind of like most people can kind of see conventionally. Oh yeah, he's got a good chance of succeeding, and then you do succeed because God basically made the world in such a way that with your own power to some extent you could navigate what he's provided for you to win. And each of these has merit. But I think people generally sort into specific categories of relationship with God in this regard. I don't know. I've never mapped out it. It just came up with the. I literally just came up with like the classification of these concepts. So yeah. But I think if you were to map out the four basic categories of the MBTI, you might find that there's a certain like 3 out of 4 of each of them or something, or like 1 out of 4 for each of the 4 categories, because there's 16 total. So you can divide it up and down 1 out of 4. You can divide it 1 out of 4 sideways or whatever. I think there's like 4 types. It's like guardians, artisans, leaders, and intellectuals or something. Inventors or something. There's probably something like 1 out of 4 of each of them, or 1 out of 4, as in like each group has its own relationship with this kind of setup. That you could categorize people along personality-wise. For the MBTI, like I'm an INTP, so it's like, it's kind of a thing. But basically, all 4 categories are valid in some situations. And if you really want to understand something, you kind of have to make it so that these categories, and you don't have to do it totally consciously necessarily, but like you kind of want to have it so that like it's true no matter which of those 4 concepts or relations with God, between you and God. It just works. I mean, that's basically what you say. And you can approach it from different angles and so on, but that determines your character development. And then eventually when you hit a peak of understanding, you break apart all 4 relations, and then you might begin to select specific instances where something is one of like the first concept, or like the 4th concept, or the 3rd or 2nd concept, more so than the others in unique situations, and then develop a frame of mind where you systematize exactly where those relation types seem to you to be the most valid. Yeah.